Larry Richardson here, February the 29th, 2020. If you saw my video from 2 days ago called A Logical Look at the COVID-19 Numbers, you will remember that I stated that the COVID-19 virus was out of the box here in the United States. Well, now I offer proof of that statement. From today's situation report from the Center for Disease Control, the US CDC, I read this. In Washington State, an 18-year-old student from Jackson High School in Mill Creek with no travel history to an outbreak area, who on February 24th had body aches, chills, and a headache. After feeling better, he returned to school before test results came out on February the 28th. That was this Friday. He went to the doctor on Monday, the 24th. The school will be closed for a few days of deep disinfecting. Wow. Here we have a young man, went to the doctor for medical attention. They tested him for the COVID-19 virus. They allowed him to go back to school because he felt better. The results didn't get back until 4 days later on Friday, and lo and behold, he tested positive for the virus. So now they've had to close the school, and it's going to take several days to disinfect it before the other students can come back. But isn't it a little bit late for them being exposed? I mean, allowing him to go back to school when he was a tested person waiting for results of the COVID virus is absolutely insane. What health official allowed that to happen? I can't answer that, and you probably can't either. But I can say this. The COVID-19 virus is out of the box here in the United States. There is no longer any way to stop it. The only thing we can do now is hope to control the speed of the spread of the virus. Now, China used the only means possible to slow the speed of the spread of the virus down. They imposed quarantines and lockdowns. That's what it's going to take to slow it down. Quarantines and lockdowns. That means there's going to be a period of time when people are not allowed to leave their houses and meet and gather with other people. They're not allowed to go in big groups. In China, they didn't even let them go to work. That'll probably happen here in the United States too, because you're up against and you meet other people in a work environment. Guess what? You don't get a paycheck for most people. So here's the significance of what's going on. We're going to have to undergo quarantine and lockdowns here in the United States to slow the virus down. Why do we have to slow the virus down? So our medical system doesn't get overwhelmed like China's did. There's only so many isolation rooms in hospitals, and there's only so many ICU beds. If what happened in Hubei province in China happens in any large city or any large section of the United States, we're going to end up in exactly the same situation they were in. We have to slow the spread of this virus down. And the only means of doing that is quarantine and lockdowns. Another reason to do that, to keep the overcrowding of the hospitals from happening, is this. The better the medical care, those people who get the virus, especially those who develop a more severe case of symptoms than others, the better medical care they get, the earlier on, the more chances they have of recovering and surviving the virus with no problem, no permanent problems. Those who get graded up to the serious level, most of them end up going back home okay if they receive good medical care. If they don't receive good medical care early on, they have a chance of ending up in the critical category. Now, in the critical category, 49% of those patients who get classified as critical end up dying. That's 1 out of every 2 people that goes to the critical category who won't be going home. We can't allow that to happen. That's why they have to try to slow this virus down. Now, when it comes to quarantines and lockdowns, like I said, if you're not allowed to go to work, most people won't make a paycheck. So what might that result in? A lot of people live paycheck to paycheck, and some of them don't have very many weeks or paychecks saved up. But what I'm getting at is if you can't make your mortgage payment for 2, 3, 4 months in a row, and some officials say it's going to take 6 months to a year of quarantine to slow this virus down enough that it doesn't overload our medical facilities, people are going to start losing their homes. That's what this video is all about. It is to encourage, to urge, to implore each of you to do your part to make sure that doesn't happen. Now, how can you do that? Very simply. You contact your state level representatives, your state representative, your state senator. You contact them. You ask them, if it hasn't already been done, you ask them to write a piece of legislation or support legislation that would prevent mortgage companies in your state from accruing interest or requiring payments during any government-imposed lockdown until 30 days after the lockdown is removed. That would keep people's houses from being foreclosed on, and it might be your house, but if it's not, if you're not in that situation, you can help your neighbors escape the possibility of this happening. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Hopefully this legislation will never need to be used, but it's legislation that we need to get all 50 states on board with, and all 50 states have to control the mortgage companies in their states so that those mortgage companies will be prevented from accruing interest or collecting and asking for payments during any government-imposed lockdown up to 30 days after the lockdown. Okay, that's my video. I thank you for watching it. Please take action on it. Once you call your representatives, don't stop with just one call. Call every other day until they assure you they're working on it and they intend to get it done. Get your friends to call them. The more people that call them and let them know they want this legislation passed, the more likely it is that it will be passed. Also, keep it simple, keep it focused. Don't let it get exploded into trying to do 15 or 20 things in the legislation. Keep it down to the one thing: saving people's homes. Thank you much for watching. Have a great day.